Hey guys, Brandon Willem, CCM Magazine, and today we are hanging out with our friend Tasha Layton. How are you, Tasha?
I'm good. I'm enjoying this nice weather outside in Nashville on a few days home from tour.
Yeah, it's been a crazy busy 8 or 9 months for you. You had the full length album finally come out, the Christmas EP, prayer journal. You got a video series out there, the touring, and now we got to add debut book to that list.
Well, when you say it like that, it makes me want to take a nap.
And you're a parent on top of all that too. You still got to live the
Yes, I
mom
was going to
life.
say, you said a crazy 8 or 9 months. I think it's more like a crazy 6 years. Once you have kids, it just doesn't stop.
Well, the book, Look What You've Done, The Lies We Believe, and the Truth That Sets Us Free, going to be coming out on March 21st. Take us inside the cover a little bit. Tell us what we should expect once we have that book in our hands or on our Kindles.
I started writing this book years ago. I started just writing down stories from I feel like I've lived 10 lives, Brandon. Like it's just I've had a crazy story. And so I started writing down some of those stories and just life lessons that God had taught me along the way. And before I knew it, I had 40,000 words. And so I thought, you know what, I should read back through this and see if there's something to it. And indeed, there was definitely a theme. And I had written in short segments where you can pick it up, and put it back down. And so it's sort of like a memoir meets devotional. There's some psychology, some scripture, stories from my life, and life lessons. So it's kind of like a Christian eat, pray, love in some respects.
You've been writing it for a while, but what was that final thing that kind of pushed you over the edge that said this book can finally come out now? And you got to talking to the right people, and they said, "You're right, it can come out
Yeah,
now."
I think it was because after I put out Boundless, the prayer journal, or the workbook, so to speak, I I just had so many people asking me, "Hey, have you ever written down your story?" And I guess I just thought, why do people need to, like I think you have those insecure moments of like, what's my story gonna do for anybody? Um, books are a dime a dozen. It's like, why do I need to write a book about my life? Is anybody gonna care before I'm dead? I tend to like want to read memoirs of people who have lived a lot of life. And my husband said, "Well, Tasha, you have lived a lot of life." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I think I have actually." And so I just started putting all that together, and one thing led to another. And before you know it, the book was born.
So you've been pretty public about a lot of your life out there these past few years. Is there something in this book or several things in this book that's going to surprise even the most hardcore Tasha Layton fans?
Well, I definitely go into, and this was actually hard to read in the audiobook because I recorded my own audiobook. I go into the suicide attempt a little bit more than I normally do, as well as kind of what led me there. And so, between that and then also some stories about having my son, and my, delivery and recovery time was pretty traumatic. And so I go into that a little bit more too. Just everything I share publicly, I just have the time and the space to go in a little bit deeper.
One of those stories you share in the book talks about a painful church experience you had that kind of got you away from faith. And then in college, you even changed your major from music to religion. You explored a bunch of religions. How'd you eventually come back to Christianity?
I really just had a lowest of low moment where I just chose. I put one foot right in front of the other. I think I was really inspired by Judaism and how they were so devout to external obedience. And I didn't feel much in my life during that season. I was pretty numb because I was so depressed. And so I just thought, I'm going to force myself to go back. And at some point, it's going to stick. It's got to stick because I've tried everything else. And so it really was just a step of faith. And about a year later, I had a really powerful moment with the presence of God, and what I call an altar moment in my life that changed the trajectory. And once that happened, I had a lot of healing left to go, but that certainly was a marker in my story. And I talk about that in the book.
There's a lot of people out there that experience that church hurt. What kind of advice would you give somebody that's watching this right now who's kind of not going to church because of something that happened there?
I think you can feel some shame over it because, especially if you grew up in the church, you feel like, well, I shouldn't question. My faith should be stronger. I should be stronger. I should be this or should be that, and we should all over ourselves. It's like you have so much pressure from a religious spirit, where there's doubt and questions all throughout the Bible, and they're met with compassion, not judgment. And I think we need to have compassion on ourselves when we doubt and when we're struggling, to know that we're not alone in that, and that anything we have faced, Jesus faced when he was a human walking this earth. And so I think just having a little bit of grace for yourself, knowing that, God understands your questions, and to not be afraid of where you are, to lean into it, and let God know how you're feeling and what you're thinking, and let others around you know. And if they judge you for it, then find somebody else to talk to. Because I think equally, we can judge ourselves, but then within the church, we often judge people who are struggling and who are questioning or deconstructing. And I think it's really important to have grace and to pray for those people and love and support them through that. Because once you come through that, you can be a lot stronger in your faith on the other side. But it's often where people are judged or feel criticized or feel unloved in that season that they don't come out of it. And so I think it's really important for the church to do everything they can to not judge and to love them, and just keep praying for them and support them, rather than try to be the judge, the jury, the prosecutor, the defense. We just want to have all the roles. Whereas God says, judgment is only his. It's only his.
Yeah. The title, Look What You've Done, obviously means a lot to you. Was there some other ideas for the title of this book, or how do we officially land on Look What You've Done as the title of this book out March 21st?
I think once we kind of came up with Look What You've Done, I couldn't really entertain any other titles. I think it was really just a testament of everything God had done in my own life. Excuse me. And it having been a testament of everything that God had done in my own life, I think it was really a call to the reader to look at how God has been present in your story. Because I think when you read Look What You've Done, you can see how even in the moments of doubt and the seasons of what I thought were detours, God was at work in all of those seasons. And so by me sharing my story, I'm hoping that you can see God's handiwork along the path of your story as well.
Yeah. Right now, you're about halfway through Hits Deep with Toby Mac and Crowder. And this tour is a little bit unique for you. You got the entire family on the road. And I know talking to you before this happened, you were pretty excited about having the entire family out there together. Now that we're halfway through. Yeah. Is it kind of like when we all spend time with our spouses in COVID? Are you ready to get separated again, or is it still fun?
Well, it's funny. I think we work well together. And so I think we do well when we spend a lot of time with each other. But, this has been such a wonderful experience, because I don't miss my family because they're with me. And same with Keith. He doesn't miss us because we're with him. So it has been such a beautiful thing. And I hope we can continue to do it this way. I think I only want to do it this way. I mean, now having traveled with my family, I don't really want to do it any other way.
That's awesome. And I didn't get to make it to the Nashville show, but I've seen a lot of videos of this tour, and it looks like Keith might be playing a couple duties out there. It looks like I saw him in a video for you and maybe John Reddick, and maybe John Reddick was playing keys for you.
Yeah, he is doing double duty, because John Reddick's set and my set, we kind of mesh them together a little bit, and John's playing for me too, and Keith is playing for John and me and Toby. And so, he's doing triple duty, but it all feels like family, it doesn't feel separate, because he's played for Toby for so long, and we've known John for so long, and I've led worship with John for so long at Church of the City. And it's just, it's kind of trippy and amazing to be on tour with people who are family, because I've never just toured with all my friends who I already knew. It's always, new artists that you maybe don't have a relationship with, or people that you're just put together on a tour with. And so this has been really special.
You might not even have to bring a babysitter out there for a tour like this. You just pull one of the artists that's playing
I
and say, hey,
know.
watch the kids. I got 30 minutes. I'll be right back.
I know my kids walk around like they own the place, and it's it's so sweet to see everybody just embracing them and loving them on the road. And they know a lot of people's names. They handed out Valentines to everybody on Valentine's. It was so cute. And I had one of the truck drivers mention to me the other day. He said, "I miss my grandkids so much," and he's like, and he teared up, and he was like, "It's been such a blessing." That your kids have been on the road because it's just brought a lot of joy to me, and so that made my heart feel good.
So after this tour here, you kind of have a blank spot there on the site right now. Is there more touring after this? You're going to take a break and kind of sit back and work on the next release.
Oh yeah, we are going full force still. I have a handful of one-offs, and then we have some festivals and a fall tour that I um, can't talk about just yet, but we have a full schedule still, and we also are working on another record. So I'm super excited about the new record, and I love the songs that we've written, and I just that's gonna be really exciting to see that come to fruition.
Since you're with your producer at all times, is Keith one of those guys who takes the whole setup on the road with him and gets you in the back of the lounge of the bus and says, let's work on some music now?
He does. But I don't do as well working on the road because obviously I'm focused on the show and the kids are with us too. And so I'm not as good at that. I try to knock it out when I come home in between.
Awesome. Well, the book is out on March 21st. Look what you've done, the lies we believe and the truth that sets us free. Tasha's out on tour at least another few weeks on Hits Deep if it's coming near you. And it sounds like you're going to have plenty of other chances to see her later in 2023. Tasha, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Brandon.